All right, let's get into what I know a lot of you have been waiting for. Let's get into the Austin Reaves discussion. So I already know, I've already seen some of the chatter on X in terms of, people want to hear my opinion on this and what I'm going to say and if I'm going to defend Austin. And no, there's no defending this. I have no defense of this. I have no excuse. I have no justification. Tonight confirmed what, there's been a vocal, I would call them a vocal minority, but a vocal minority that has been against Austin or doubtful, skeptical of Austin, whatever, for a while. And tonight confirmed a lot of what those Austin doubters have been saying. And I have no way to explain it or defend it. He did not look like a number 2 option tonight. He did not look like a number 3 option tonight. He did not look like a $40 million player. He didn't even look like a $30 million player tonight. And so, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, worst field goal percentage on 15 plus field goal attempts in Lakers playoff history. That is, especially with some of the performances that D'Lo had not too long ago, that's pretty concerning. Just not a good game from him. I think now I know that there's going to be the overreaction in terms of this means you cannot keep him. This means you have to trade him. This means he's awful. He needs to be punted to the sun. Like, no, I think we can have a real conversation and breakdown of this. I thought defensively, he held up well on some switches against Chet, which I was actually surprised by in terms of that, if anything, kind of shows where Chet needs to work on some of his strength stuff. But I thought there were some switches. He had some strips off the dribble, which he did in the Houston series as well. So I actually thought defensively he was okay. He did get blown by several times. So to me, it was a bit of a mixed bag on the defensive end. Now, when he's matched up with AJ Mitchell, that's just a mismatch. And AJ Mitchell, I said going to the series, my X factor for the Lakers was Austin. I said he had to be the 3rd best player on the floor or at least match Chet Holmgren. Forget the 3rd best player. He wasn't even, at best he was the 5th best Laker, but you can maybe even make a case he was worse than that. And so not even close to being the 3rd best player on the floor. I do think Austin's passing tonight with 6 assists, tied for 2nd on the team with LeBron. And I do think some of the shot creation, he missed a bunch of good looks in the paint. He missed some good jumpers. He had some open threes that he missed. I think there is an element of the shot creation. There's maybe some progress with the shot creation, but ultimately LA needs more. There's no other way to spin this or to talk it out. I think there were some things he did well tonight, but what LA needs from Austin is for Austin to drop 25 plus. They need him to be, right now with how LeBron's playing, the sidekick to LeBron, be the number 2. And this is a big opportunity for him to show, in the future, it's supposed to be Luka as the number 1, Austin as the number 2, maybe Austin as the number 3, but at least in that top 3. And tonight was just not up to par. And I bring back, look at the regular season numbers against the Thunder. He played them in 3 games, did suffer that injury in the 3rd game and played through it, but still, just look at his numbers against the Thunder this season. 14.7 points, 3.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 43% shooting, 23% on threes, and 4.7 turnovers per game. He had 4 more turnovers in all 3 games, 5 or more in 2 of the 3, and tonight once again had 4 turnovers. So he's not scored at anywhere close to a high enough level against this team. He has not been efficient inside the arc or outside the arc. He has not been up to par from a playmaking perspective, and he's not been up to par from a ball handling, turnover, decision-making perspective. And I still think he's shown a certain floor and a certain ceiling that to me is I think the discourse can get a little bit too negative with him. And I think some of the people who don't believe in Austin overlook a lot of the positives. But the fact of the matter is this Thunder team is not going anywhere. the San Antonio team, who he's also had some struggles against this season, is not going anywhere. And he needs to be better in these types of matchups. Otherwise, it's like, if you're trying to build a championship roster around Luka Doncic and he's having these types of performances, I mean, you just can't win a championship with this right now. And so I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that, like, in my opinion, he has not looked physically like the same player. He's not quite had the same speed or athleticism. But I've also said, if he's out there, like, you can't really use the injury excuse. If you're good enough to go and play 36 minutes against the Thunder, and look, he took a big shot from Shea in that third quarter where Marcus pushed Shea into him and Shea clotheslined him, and clearly he was in some measure of pain. Like, but even before that, he was 1 for 11 in the first half. So even if you want to say he took another blow in the second half, he went 2 for 5 in the second half, which is like progress, but 1 for 11 in the first. Like, it just. I don't know. I'm not. I think people are going to jump to bury him and write him off. I'm not at that point, but this was certainly an awful game. I am concerned. I'm like, he's just not played well against this team, and this is a big moment for him. And if he's really hurt, then I don't think he should play. Like, I think it's that simple. If you're hurt, then don't play. And like, if anything, you're hurting the team and you're hurting potentially your pockets right now with the performances you're having. If you're good to go, then play. And I think for his sake and for the Lakers' sake, like, hopefully play better. But I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think this is going to be his worst game of the series. I don't know that he's going to shoot 3 for 16 or worse again. But even then, the bar right now is just so much higher than what he showed. Like, the Lakers needed 3 times as many points from him tonight. They needed at least 5 to 6 more makes, right? Like, they needed a turnover or 2 fewer. Like, they needed a lot more from, like, he's not out there to be just a guy who is like switching on to Chet and getting some assists and creating high percentage looks. Like, that is part of it, but he needs to do more. Austin at some level is going to be judged on how many points do you put up and how efficiently do you do it and how do you take care of the ball. And if you're going to have the 4 turnovers, you better have 8 or 9 assists, not 6. And so he just needs to be better, like, straight up all around. And this is, I think, a big moment for him and for the Lakers and just where things go from here. Because, I mean, if it's 3 more games of this and the Lakers get swept, then, like, we'll have that conversation at that point. But, like, it's certainly not trending in the right direction here. And yeah, I mean, that's my Austin take. I'm not going to bury him the way that some people might want me to, or that the way that some people are, because I think this dude's a competitor and I think he's going to have better performances in the future. But this was an awful performance. I think you can make a case this was his worst performance of the season. And this was a big game, a big moment that the Lakers needed him. This continues to fuel the playoff narrative and chatter about his postseason performances, his shooting in the playoffs. I mean, I got to think now, his shooting this season, I mean, I said it's 2 for 17. So if we break this down here, 2 for 17 is 11.7%. He's shooting 11.7% on threes in the playoffs. Now, it's been 3 games and his jumper and his legs have just not been there, but that's what the Lakers need. Like, with Luka out and LeBron carrying the load that he's carrying, and guys like Marcus and Rui and Luke stepping up, I do think Austin had some really nice playmaking moments in Game 5, and I thought he finally started to get into a rhythm in the third quarter in Game 6. But still, it was obviously not himself and not the version of him we're accustomed to, the version he was pre-injury. But he was not close to that tonight. And I mean, he like creates separation against Kayson Wallace, gets blocked, gets downhill, just flinging stuff up, getting blocked, shots altered. Yeah, I mean, didn't get to the free throw line much, only took 2 free throws tonight. Like, I'm out of ways to explain it or justify it. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. So he's got to be much better. And like a normal version of Austin in this series goes, I mean, if he has if he has the typical Austin low 20s, 5 to 7 assists on efficient shooting, because he's been a guy always in the 50% shooting range, 60% true shooting. If you get that performance from him, I don't know that the Lakers win this game, because I still think a lot went OKC's way, and there's still a talent gap there. But I think it's a much more competitive game. I think the Lakers crack 100. I mean, just by him adding 14 points, they crack 100, right? So it would have been a much more competitive game with a better showing from him. So he's just got to be better. And I'm sure I'll get some questions on him in the Q&A portion. But that's my take on that.